From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang and here are the news. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has directed the local government units or LGUs to lead the response to Tropical Storm Enteng's onslaught, while the national government stands ready to render necessary assistance. Philippine Presidential Communications Office or PCO's spokesperson for natural calamities and disasters, Joey Villarama, said the same directive applies for the victims of the deadly landslide in Antipolo, Rizal. Villarama said LGUs will take the lead, but the national government will be there to assist in whatever way it can. On Monday, the president assured that his office is monitoring Enteng affected areas as a whole as LGUs are addressing the situation on the ground within their respective jurisdictions. He assured the public that the government is prepared for the aftermath of the bad weather. The Philippine Department of Social Welfare and Development earlier said some 16 million pesos worth of assistance have been distributed to over 300,000 families affected by Enteng, while 2.67 billion pesos relief resources are still available.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday called on local government units or LGUs to ramp up their waste management efforts once severe tropical storm Enteng leaves the Philippine Area of Responsibility or BAR on Wednesday afternoon. In an ex post, the president said both local and national government efforts continue even as the storm has left the country. The chief executive earlier lamented that improper waste disposal caused the massive flooding during the onslaught of the southwest monsoon and Typhoon Karina last month. President Marcos Jr. urged the public to adhere to the local authorities' guidelines and take all necessary steps to ensure everyone's safety. While he directed LGUs to lead the disaster response efforts, President Marcos assured the public of the national government's readiness to mitigate the impact of the typhoon. The Philippine president said the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH are on the ground and have started the clearing operations on the affected national roads, adding that over 1,700 equipment have been prepositioned to make sure that streets are passable as quickly as possible. President Marcos said the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD is also leading the distribution of over 16 million pesos worth of assistance to typhoon victims, adding that 2.6 billion pesos worth of food and non-food items remain, as well as 65.56 million pesos in standby funds. The president assured that the government is fully mobilized to manage the situation.
Dateline Malacañang.
In related news, the Philippine Government Service Insurance System or GSIS announced the extension of its emergency loan program to provide financial relief to members and pensioners in areas affected by severe tropical storm Enteng as soon as it has obtained the list of areas declared under state of calamity. This initiative builds on GSIS's ongoing emergency loan program, which has already been activated in several calamity-declared areas across the country. Members and pensioners in areas affected by the southwest monsoon or habagat and Typhoon Karina can apply until their respective deadlines. October 26, 2024 for Baco and Pinamalayan, Oriental Mindoro. October 25 for Batangas, Rizal, and National Capital Region. October 29 for Bulacan and Pampanga. October 31 for Camiling, Tarlac. November 1 for San Andres, Romblon, and Mabitac, Laguna. November 5 for Ilocos Norte and La Union. November 13 for Ilocos Sur. And November 21 for Mga Tarim, Pangasinan. To qualify for the emergency loan, active members must reside or work in a calamity-declared area, not be on unpaid leave, have no pending administrative or legal cases, have no due and demandable loan, and have made at least 6 monthly premium payments prior to applying. Their take-home net pay must not be less than 5,000 pesos as stipulated by the General Appropriations Act. Old age and disability pensioners must ensure that their net monthly pension remains at least 25% after deduction for loan amortization. Members and pensioners with an existing emergency loan balance may borrow up to 40,000 pesos to settle their previous loans with a maximum net amount of 20,000 pesos. Those without existing balances may apply for a 20,000 pesos loan. The loan offers a low interest rate of 6% per annum with a repayment period of 3 years. Qualified members and pensioners can apply for the loan online through the GSIS Touch mobile app. They may also submit their applications through GSIS Wireless Automated Processing System or GWAPS kiosks located in GSIS branches nationwide, major government offices such as the Department of Education, provincial capitals, city halls, municipal offices, and select Robinsons and SM malls. For more information about the emergency loan program, members may visit the GSIS website, follow the GSIS Facebook page, email gsis@gsis.gov.ph, or call the GSIS Contact Center.
Dateline Malacañang.
Basic sectors are now represented in disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation efforts through decision-making and targeted interventions. This was after National Anti-Poverty Commission or NAPC Secretary Lopez Santos III approved Memorandum Order Number 001 Series of 2024 titled Guidelines on the Operationalization of the NAPC Basic Sector Representation in the National, Regional, and Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Councils on September 1. Santos said the memorandum is essential for advancing the country's DRRM efforts by fostering a more consultative and transparent approach to policy making and advocating for reforms aimed at poverty alleviation. Republic Act No. 10121 or the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010 ensures the meaningful participation and representation of basic sectors in the NRL-DRRM councils nationwide, supporting the rights and welfare of impoverished Filipinos. The approved guidelines also do not limit the state's policy on local autonomy under RA 7160 or the Local Government Code. It also acknowledges that local autonomy and private sector participation are supported by improved coordination between national and local government agencies. Amid the bad weather brought by Tropical Storm Enteng on Tuesday, NAPC Victims of Disasters and Calamities Sectoral Council or VDCSC Representative Regina Salvador Antequisa called for stronger collaboration between government agencies, local government units or LGUs, and civil society organizations or CSOs to enhance disaster preparedness strategies for a more effective local response. Enteng has impacted communities in Luzon and the Visayas, particularly low-lying urban areas, danger zones, and coastal regions. She urged concerned government agencies, LGUs, and CSOs to expedite and strengthen their grassroots disaster response.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Economic Zone, or PEZA, said the newly proclaimed eco zones in Iloilo and Batangas amount to 1.49 billion Philippine peso. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. signed on August 27 proclamation numbers 668 and 670 declaring the grid in Iloilo and the expansion project at the Lima Technology Center in Batangas as new eco zones respectively. In a statement Tuesday, PEZA said the cost of the expansion of the Lima Technology Center amounted to 856 million pesos, which is expected to be completed by the first quarter of 2025. Proclamation 670 designated an additional 31.35 hectares of land as part of the Lima Technology Center Special Economic Zone, or LTC SEZ. LTC SEZ is a project of Aboitiz Infra Capital. It currently hosts 169 locators with more than 100 billion pesos of investments, generating 65,000 direct employments. Meanwhile, Proclamation 668 designated the 2,000 square meter land as a new information technology or IT center in Iloilo. PEZA said the Grid IT Center has an initial investment of 193 million pesos. It added that the IT Center expects 3 IT and Business Process Management or BPM companies with investments of about 10 million pesos and will create 250 jobs. PEZA Director General Tereso Pangas said in collaboration with other government agencies and industry partners, PEZA furthers its commitment in eco-zoning the Philippines towards inclusive and sustainable development for the new Philippines or Bagong Pilipinas.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has declared Tuesday as a day of national mourning over the passing of Manilikanang Bayan or National Living Treasure awardee Federico Caballero, an epic chanter and culture bearer of the Sulud Bukidnon tribe in Central Panay Province. With the issuance of Proclamation 678 signed by the President on Monday, the national flag was flown at half-mast from sunrise to sunset on all government buildings and installations throughout the Philippines and abroad on September 3rd. Republic Act RA 8491 or the Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines provides that the Philippine flag shall be flown at half-mast as a sign of mourning on all buildings and places where it is displayed on the day of interment of a recipient of national order and decoration. Caballero was declared as a National Living Treasure when he received the Gawad sa Manlilikanang Bayan Award in 2000 for his expertise in the Sugidanon, the Epics of Central Panay. He died on August 17th at the age of 88. The chief executive issued the presidential proclamation in recognition of Caballero's commitment to safeguarding and propagating the Sugidanon tradition of his community. As a culture bearer, Caballero persevered in documenting the 10th Panay Bukidnon epics, which were rendered in a language that, though no longer spoken, is related to Kinaray-a. Caballero worked with researchers to piece together the epics of Humadapnon and Labaw Donggon. He was also an arbiter of conflicts who helped resolve disputes at the local level to prevent people from being alienated from each other and preserve the social fabric of their community.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Migrant Workers or DMW on Tuesday said funds for the government's National Reintegration Program for overseas Filipino workers or OFWs have been doubled under Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s Bagong Pilipinas vision. Speaking at the Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas of the Philippine Information Agency, DMW Secretary Hans Leo Cacdac said the increased budget will enable more OFW returnees to get assistance and benefit from the program. He said reintegration program beneficiaries of the DMW and OWA have reached around 28,000 from January 1, 2023 to August 31, 2024, mostly under OWA programs. He said there are several programs and activities under the NRCO to help returning OFWs rebuild and restart their lives and successfully reintegrate into society. These include the BPBH Livelihood Development Assistance Program or LDAP. Sa Pinas Ikaw ang Ma'am at Sir o SPIMS, Training on Livelihood Skills, Technical and Professional Development, Entrepreneurship Development Tour or EDT. Business Monitoring and Technical Support or BMTS, Technical Support. Tulong Pangkapital, Psychosocial Activities, and the Reintegration Education Campaign which include pre-migration, orientation seminar, financial awareness seminar, small business management training, financial education, and anti-investment scam, among others. Meanwhile, OWA Chief Arnel Ignacio said the agency fund for OFW reintegration is always available. He said that OWA is thinking of a new reintegration program specifically for OFWs who are into farming, which will not only help returning workers but will also support the food sufficiency programs of the Marcos administration. Kakdak said the DMW is also partnering with other government agencies such as the Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Agriculture, and Department of Tourism to further strengthen the reintegration program and provide OFWs access to livelihood or business opportunities when they decide to return and settle in the Philippines.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine Department of Migrant Workers or DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak on Tuesday assured that the remaining Filipinos that were victims of human trafficking in Laos is scheduled to return to the country. According to Secretary Kakdak, they are currently processing the return flights of the said Filipinos. Of the total 75 Filipinos arrested in a crackdown operation by Laos authorities, 52 of the victims have already returned to the country. Meanwhile, the DMW continues to implement programs to support overseas Filipino workers or OFWs. In an interview, DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak, the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA, Administrator Arnel Ignacio shared various assistance provided by their agencies to OFWs. From applying jobs until returning back to the country, the two agencies assured that they have sufficient support for OFWs. Among the assistance provided are running after illegal recruiters, provision of legal assistance to OFWs who experience abuse from their employers, and offering temporary shelter to OFWs who were forced to flee from their workplace. Once OFWs return to the country, the DMW will provide 75,000 pesos in financial assistance from the agency's Action Fund, while OWA will give an additional 75,000 pesos to those in need. There are also programs on business training and searching for jobs to help OFWs start a new life in the Philippines. According to DMW Secretary Kakdak, all of these are in response to the directive of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to provide adequate care to OFWs.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Manila Economic and Cultural Officer MECO on Tuesday said at least 8,000 jobs in the manufacturing sector are available for Filipinos seeking employment in Taiwan. MECO Chair Silvestre Bello III said the job vacancies are up for grabs in job fairs from the 9th to the 11th of September in the cities of Lawag and Vigan, where some 17 manpower agencies and employers from the group Responsible Business Alliance of Taiwan will participate. Bello said among the good news in these job fairs is that prospective hires will not be charged placement fees and no deployment cost for the lucky job aspirants. The job fairs will be at the Centennial Arena in Lawag City and the Provincial Farmers Livelihood Program Center on Quezon Avenue in Vigan City. Among the agencies joining are the Grand Placement, Philsino, Everbest, City Employment, Skyborn, Jedegal, Bright Star, Jobman, iQuest, September Star, Tenglong, Workforce, World Trans, Jardine and Mission Way, Leading Taiwan food processing company IMEI Foods and Golden Brothers are also participating. Job seekers are advised to check the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW portal ahead of the event for the available jobs being offered by the agencies and employers. They are also advised to register online for the job fair to facilitate evaluation and pre-qualification for the vacant positions. The fairs are organized by the DMW, the Migrant Workers Offices in Taiwan, and the provincial governments of Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur, and the local public employment services offices.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippine Department of Justice or DOJ on Wednesday confirmed the arrest of former Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo, also known as Guo Waping, in Tangerang City, Jakarta, Indonesia. In a statement, the DOJ said Guo was apprehended at 11:58 p.m. on September 3, according to Senior Superintendent Odi Latujero of the Indonesian Police. Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla welcomed the development, saying Guo's arrest is a testament to the tireless efforts of law enforcement agencies and the strength of international cooperation in bringing fugitives to justice. Guo is facing complaints about her alleged involvement in the illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs in the country and questions about her citizenship. Despite being the subject of an immigration lookout bulletin due to the ongoing investigations, Guo was able to leave the country last July 18. Guo reportedly headed to Malaysia, arrived in Singapore on July 21, and traveled to Indonesia on August 18. Guo's sister Sheila and business associate Cassandra Leong were earlier arrested in Indonesia and already sent back to the Philippines. During the Senate Subcommittee on Justice and Human Rights hearing, Sheila admitted she left the country with the dismissed mayor by boat.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Education or DepEd warned the public on Tuesday against fake cash aid for students circulating online. The fake announcements promised to provide elementary to college students with cash assistance of 5,000 pesos and 8,000 pesos in exchange for their personal information. The DepEd also previously intercepted similar fake assistance offers. Among the documents required to qualify for the bogus aid are Philippine Statistics Authority issued birth certificates, school identification, enrollment certificates, and the need to register via a clickable link claiming to direct to an online registration form. The fraudulent posts illegally used the DepEd logo and pictures of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and DepEd Secretary Sani Angara. The DepEd urged the public to rely only on DepEd's official website and social media platforms on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Other misleading and subconscious information, or rather suspicious information, may be directly reported to DepEd via email at deped@deped.gov.ph.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still from the Department of Education, the Philippine Department of Education or DepEd on Tuesday said it is set to release 26.9 billion pesos for the salary differential of all eligible public school teachers and non-teaching staff in accordance with Executive Order Number 64, issued by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. DepEd Secretary Sani Angara earlier confirmed that the Department of Budget Management or DBM has approved the release of the salary differential in the education sector. In a statement, DepEd Undersecretary for Finance Annalyn Sevilla said the salary differential for the January to August 2024 period will be released within the month. Sevilla added that some DepEd regional offices are already processing the payment of salary differentials following the release of their notice of office, or rather, Notice of Official Salary Adjustment or NOSA. As of August 31, the DepEd regional offices of Ilocos, Central Luzon, and Mimaropa have fully released their NOSA. The Cordillera Administrative Region, Central Visayas, Northern Mindanao, and Davao Region, meanwhile, have started their partial NOSA releases.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Intergovernmental Fiscal Policy Board, or IFPB, approved the guidelines on official development assistance, or ODA, loans for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, to support inclusive development, the Philippine Department of Finance, or DOF, said on Tuesday. The IFPB, which is co-chaired by Finance Secretary Ralph Recto and Bangsamoro Government Minister of Finance, Budget and Management Ubaida Pacasem, was created under the Bangsamoro Organic Law to deal with revenue imbalances and fluctuations in the regional financial needs and revenue-raising capacity of the BARM. In a statement, the DOF said the guidelines were signed Tuesday at its office in Manila. The IFPB guidelines on ODA loans were signed after they were approved by both parties during the 7th IFPB meeting. The DOF said the ODA guidelines authorized the Bangsamoro government to contract loans in cash or in kind from governments of foreign countries, their agencies and instrumentalities, or multilateral institutions or organizations. Under the guidelines, the Bangsamoro government can take out loans to finance investment, social and economic development projects for the welfare of the people of the Bangsamoro, provided that ODAs must only be used in the absence of other financial instruments in the capital market, and that it must contain a grant element of 25%. ODA funds, however, cannot be used for telephone programs, projects required by law to be handled by the private sector, or for financing private corporations that have access to commercial credit. The guidelines also detail the Bangsamoro government's instrumentalities that may be involved in the ODA loan process, the pertinent documents for technical and financial evaluation, as well as the procedure for the approval of ODA loans to the BARM in coordination with the national government. Recto is optimistic that with the guidance in place, the Bangsamoro government will be able to leverage opportunities, harness concessional ODAs effectively, and manage partnerships with utmost prudence and foresight. Pacasem, meanwhile, welcomed the signing of the guidelines. Other items discussed during the meeting were the tax study group deliverables. These included a procedure for the collection and sharing of revenue and remittance of the BARM shares in national taxes, as well as the rules to implement payment of taxes by corporations, partnerships, and firms in accordance with the BOL. Both sides also discussed updates on the transition plan for the transfer of tax administration functions from the Bureau of Internal Revenue for the Bangsamoro Revenue Office, including establishments of a digitalized tax administration system for the BARM. Items also taken up were updates on the appointed Bangsamoro government members to the governance board of the Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank of the Philippines, the proposed transfer of the Development Bank of the Philippines share in the AAIIBP to the Bangsamoro government, and the issuance of certificates of tax exemption to cooperatives in BARM.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Space Agency, or PhilSA, confirmed on Tuesday the launch of China's Long March 4B rocket and identified possible drop zones of debris. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRIMC, said China launched the Long March 45 from the Xichang Satellite Launch Center in Liangshanyi Autonomous Prefecture, Sichuan, between 9:16 in the morning and 9:43 in the morning of Tuesday. In an advisory, PhilSA said the debris could fall about 243 nautical miles away from Philippine Rice, located east of the northern coastline of Dinapiga, Isabela, and 380 nautical miles away from Panay Island, northwest of Catanduanes. PhilSA also said the debris could float around the area and wash toward nearby coasts. The possibility of an uncontrolled re-entry to the atmosphere of the rocket's upper stages, returning from outer space, cannot be ruled out at this time, the PhilSA added. The PhilSA urged the public to inform local authorities if suspected debris is sighted. Further, the public is cautioned against retrieving or coming in close contact with rocket debris since it may contain remnants of toxic substances such as rocket fuel. In a memorandum, the NDRMC advised the Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, and Department of Environment and Natural Resources, National Mapping and Resource Information Authority to consider temporary restrictions in the identified drop zones.
Dateline Malacañang.
Direct flights between Manila and Paris will commence real soon as the Philippines and France are currently working on it, local officials bared Tuesday. Philippine Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista said having direct flights to Paris will give comfort to the passengers. Bautista also said he hopes the country's flag carrier, Philippine Airlines or PAL, would mount direct Paris flights. PAL President Stanley Nang, who was also present, kept nodding in response. Sought for comment, Nang told the reporters that PAL is continuously exploring routes and that mounting the Paris flights is possible. He also acknowledged that the carrier needs to study and consider several factors like the slots, plus the fact that PAL is waiting for new planes to arrive. Nang expressed optimism with a renewed partnership between the Philippines and France's aviation bodies signed on Tuesday. Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines or CAAP Director General Manuel Tamayo meanwhile bared to the PNA that France's flag carrier, Air France, already got the approval of CAAP and the Manila International Airport Authority for the mounting of direct Paris flights starting December this year. Bautista said Philippines-France partnership evolves around airworthiness, exchange of notes on carbonization, safety, digitalization, and other pressing issues as well as capacity building among CAAP personnel through training. Tamayo said the partnership started in 2018 and many CAAP personnel were already trained.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila. Dateline Malacañang.